Hello and welcome back to Picks and Portraits. Today we are going to be looking at something we've briefly touched on before, the intersection of retrofuturism and video games. This is obviously a huge topic, so we're going to be limiting this video specifically to the years 1950 through 1974. Because this period didn't really have a whole lot going on, we're going to be mainly focusing on the game's marketing material. We will be looking at ad campaigns from the first 25 years of gaming, and how the future was used to sell video games. Before we get into that though, this and every video on this channel was made possible by our patrons over at patreon.com/picksandportraits. We do not run ads, we are 100% viewer supported, and in exchange offer a ton of exclusive videos. So if you like what we do and want to help keep it coming, please consider supporting us, patreon.com/picksandportraits. With that plug out of the way, let's head back to the future. We have talked before about how the future has been used to sell products. It is a pretty powerful marketing tool for companies to promote their new ideas. Usually, the future or the world of tomorrow is used to show how cutting edge something is, how far ahead of the competition it is. Setting an ad in the future can also convey the idea of dependability. This is a brand or a product that will stand the test of time. It is so good, built so well, that it will still exist well into the future. Now, the roots of video games were planted during the space age, whose future was one of great optimism. A lot of this was centered around convenience of living, or quality of life, the possibility of space exploration, and of course, new and exciting innovations like the computer and interactive games. One of the earliest video games was Birdie The Brain, which was released in 1950 as part of that year's CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition. One of the first videos I made on this channel, actually, was a trip to the next year's X. It's basically like a state fair, but in the past it was more akin to a World's Fair, where new inventions and ideas were showcased, like Birdie The Brain. Birdie was an early AI that would play a game of tic-tac-toe against a human player. This player used a controller to input commands. It's notable for allowing users to adjust the difficulty, which is pretty wild for how old this is. Early history is pretty hard to track, but Birdie was among the first interactive games to have a visual display. But what's interesting is it's not actually displaying graphics on a screen, but instead using light bulbs that respond to the user's selections. In hindsight, this is hugely influential, but at the time it was treated as little more than an exhibit. After the exhibition concluded, it was disassembled and basically left in the past. Moving forward in time to 1958, we began seeing games displayed using an oscilloscope. You are looking at Tennis for Two here, which allowed people to play a simulated game of tennis. Users would input commands using controllers made of aluminum. These two games are usually mentioned when talking about the first video game ever, but for our purposes, everything starts with Spacewar. Developed in 1962, arguably the peak of the space age, humans had left the planet, but this game's depiction of space can still be considered retrofuturism, despite its primitive graphics, as even today we are still far off from the warring spacecrafts it depicted. Like Tennis for Two, it was a multiplayer game where users competed against each other in two distinct spacecrafts orbiting a star, basically shooting back and forth at each other. Spacewar was developed by Steve Russell for the PDP-1 mini computer at MIT, and it was extremely popular among programmers. Its code was built upon to add new features and gameplay options throughout the years. Obviously, because of the technological requirements, it did not reach huge commercial success, but it did inspire a lot of things that did. Its DNA can be found in Computer Space, designed by Atari founders Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney in 1971. This is a similar game with improved graphics and sound. Unlike what we've already looked at, Computer Space was released commercially. It came in an interesting cabinet that was designed to look futuristic, which is very of the time. You can see it in this marketing material I tracked down. It is marketed not only as a new game, but a new concept entirely. Despite being basically a remake, it was advertised as innovative and cutting edge, and in that way it was. Video games were something programmers and academics played around with, but here was a game being advertised in magazines and aimed directly at consumers. The idea worked. Computer Space was released in arcades or sold to be played in public spaces, and it sold very well. Shortly after its release, Bushnell and Dabney formed Atari, released Pong, which I'm sure needs no introduction, and more or less kicked off the golden age of gaming. Gaming came home with the first commercially released home console, the Magnavox Odyssey, in 1972. This was designed by Ralph Baer of Sanders Associates, which was a defense contractor that made electronic systems for both military and commercial use, like aircraft protection systems and infrared imaging. The Magnavox Odyssey is very primitive. It could only display 3 dots, 2 of which players could control, and a single line. Different plastic overlays could be purchased that users would stick to the TV, and a lot of imagination was needed to enjoy the games as intended. As an example, hockey plays a lot like football, which plays a lot like tennis or Pong. A few games used light gun technology, and a rifle accessory was also sold separately. These played similar to shooting games at carnivals. Its name, Odyssey, traveling to strange new places. The design is very of the time, with brown with the wood paneling. The type font used is also futuristic. We are a few years after 2001, still fresh in people's minds, and it was a new idea: interactive video games at home. The public needed this to be explained to them, and you see this both in television and in print ads. One commercial introduces it as the electronic game of the future, and that could not be more right. While it was not the most powerful or successful console, it kicked off a revolution in home entertainment that we are still very much feeling today. But that is going to be it for this video. Again, this was not meant to be exhaustive. Let me know if there was something that I missed. I would love for this to be a full series. There is certainly no shortage of material to choose from, so if this is something you'd like to see more of, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and again, if you had the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. If you like video game nostalgia and retrofuturism, there are dozens of videos over there that you can get access to for as little as $5 a month and help keep these videos and Sleepwear coming out. That is patreon.com/pixandportraits. As always, thank you so much for interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.